Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the pod. We are on lesson number 5. Five, that's not a word. Let's try this again. Lesson number 5 from the Creator Weekend. Last weekend, again, recapping the story, spent a weekend at an Airbnb with 15 other amazing, phenomenal creators on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, people with millions and millions of subscribers. And I was definitely the small fish in the room, but it was a remarkable opportunity to see top creators up close and in person and have conversations with them and learn from them, try to extract as much information from them as possible, and just generally be a fly on the wall. And I'm taking the lessons that I learned from this weekend and trying to bring it to you because I understand that some of these events are, they're exclusive by definition. And so it's hard to get into these rooms. And one of the quickest, easiest ways to level up as a creator, entrepreneur, business person is to get into bigger and bigger rooms with bigger and better people, right? In the beginning, you don't have access. And so you have to go to local meetups and free events. And then as you start, making more money, you can start paying to go to masterminds and more conferences and get around bigger people. Then you can start paying for coaches and access. And then as you start to climb the ladder, then you start getting invited to bigger opportunities. But it's a long road. It's hard. And I recognize that. And so I want to be cognizant that where I was 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago, like looking at these types of creators and wondering, like, how do they operate? What's it look like behind the scenes? Like, how are they in reality versus what I see on the social medias? And so this series of 10 episodes is my attempt to bring some of that information to you guys and share some of the most impactful lessons that I took away from this weekend. So we're on lesson number 5 out of 10. So highly recommend you go listen to the previous episodes and, stay tuned for the future ones. Anyways, lesson number 5, the best are obsessed. Like, if you're not living and breathing your craft 24/7, constantly investing in your skills and obsessing over every single detail of what you do, your business, your create, whatever you create, if it's a video, it's writing, like, you're gonna get blown off the court by the people who are obsessed. Truthfully, it was phenomenal to see this confirmed over and over with each one of these 15 dudes in different ways. So hearing guys like Zach Pograb, who Behavior Hacks, he one of his words actually is like obsessed. He's on Instagram, has a couple $1.5 million subscribers. Great guy, great writer. It's all he thinks about. All he thinks about is writing and sharing his ideas and his thoughts with his audience. Guys like Chris Williamson, who has 1 million subs on YouTube and a big podcast called Modern Wisdom. He obsesses over every single detail. Title, thumbnails, the scripts, the set, the lighting, the camera, the editing, everything is dialed in with these guys. There is no detail too small that they think is meaningless. They mastered their craft by obsessing over it, constantly asking, how do I improve? I was talking with Chris. One of the fascinating things, he's one of the best interviewers in the world. And I was talking to him because he's a very effective communicator. And I was like, what have you done to invest into your skills as a communicator? He had a dictation coach who he connected me with. I thought that was very interesting. He found that he had a little bit of a lisp. He had some vocal tendencies that were making him come across less clear. He did improv training, so he could be more impromptu and spontaneous in the moments. He did stand-up comedy classes and worked with a coach there so that he could become more aware of what makes for a funny story, how to tell that in a compelling way. And so over and over and over, he has invested in tons of coaching and trainings in different aspects of becoming a good vocal communicator. And it really shows. This guy, he is a fantastic communicator. And as somebody who prides himself as being a pretty good communicator, he's just levels above. It's because he's obsessed over every single little detail. And so it's okay to be obsessed. And I think if you are not obsessed, that's okay. I think obsession can come through competency. So in the beginning, if you're just starting off on your journey, you're not very good at the thing yet. And it doesn't feel good to do things that we're not good at, right? That seems pretty obvious to say, but in reality, the things that we tend to enjoy are the things that we have a high degree of competency in. And so in the beginning, when you don't have that competency, it can be very hard to pinpoint and say, this is the thing that I'm ultimately going to love to do, which is why I hate the advice, follow your passion. Because when you're young, you don't know what you're good about, what you're going to be passionate about, because you suck at everything. So everything like is equally like, oh, I might enjoy that, I might not. And then you do the thing and you do it for a little bit, but you realize like, I'm not very good at this. And that's not a virtuous cycle that makes you want to do more of the thing. But as you stick with it, you put in the time, the reps, the iterations, and you get better, you start improving at that thing, you get better as a result of the effort that goes in, and you start to enjoy the thing more because your competency expands. And so competency in a lot of ways breeds this passion that people will tell you to go and pursue. And so first is get really good at things. And in the beginning, when you're young, you don't know what that is. So you got to try to do a lot of things. Anyways, these guys, they figured out what they could be really good at. And then they got great at it. And then they became in love with it and it became passion for them. And then they became obsessed. And I think that's kind of the snowball that you, sequence of events that you have to follow if you want to be one of the best in the world at what you do. So that was one of the coolest things, just to see like these guys who are at the very, very top, even though they are operating at a level so far beyond most mortals like us, they could just phone it in and do the basics. They don't. They do everything to the best of their ability every single time. And I think that's what makes Michael Jordan the best, Tiger Woods the best. Every time they step out onto the court, into the battlefield of choice, they execute everything perfectly, flawlessly. They don't cut corners, even though that they know that them at 80% is still better than 99% of the people out there. It's never good enough for them. They have to play at 99% or 100% because at that level, they know there is nobody in the world that can beat them. So that's the takeaway for today. That is lesson number 5 in this series. Come back tomorrow for number 6. Thank you as always for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. Truly, it means a lot to me. And I'll see you back around these parts tomorrow. But until then, stay hyper-focused, my friend.